Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel, where today we are continuing work on the Sandland Radio Observatory. That's the 18-foot geodesic radar dome that I set up out at my friend's property in Wisconsin. We put a 6-foot satellite dish in here, and we're working our way up to an even bigger dish. I'm hoping to use this for some radio astronomy experiments, some satellite tracking, and just improving my overall skill level and experience level when it comes to using a bigger satellite antenna. Now, Sandland is a little bit farther away from my house, so I don't get out to the radio observatory all the time, but I do have more of a full workshop here at home or in my garage. So while I'm at home, I'm going to be working on some parts and accessories that should help the radio astronomy stuff and should help improve the satellite dish setup. And this is another area where I'm trying to improve my skills and abilities because I'm using a new tool, relatively new to me, the Carvera Air from Makera. Now, this isn't exactly a review video, but I would like to thank Makera for sending me this, and as usual, I'll have the links to the product here down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. One thing that I found really cool from going through the example projects that this came with was the ability to make PCBs, printed circuit boards, rather than the additive or printing process that you might get for PCBs sometimes. This one can do sort of a subtractive manufacturing process. Basically, you start with a sheet of copper, or I guess this is actually a sheet of plastic or fiberglass with copper over the top, and you can etch out a design in that, so you can carve out traces. When I'm doing satellite and radio astronomy things, I often use filters and amplifiers like this commercial unit, but I thought it would be kind of cool to try to make my own filters using some PCB techniques. And I actually found a video from Thought Emporium from a few years ago where he does this using a CNC machine like this. And I thought that sounded like a pretty cool idea. I can make a filter tuned to exactly the frequency I want. One of the problems I've had with buying commercial filters is that while there are some great ones out there, there aren't always filters for exactly the frequencies that I want. Things like ham TV from the International Space Station, things like moon bounce, EME, communications. Yes, there are some filters made by other ham radio operators, and there are a few commercial products here and there, but they tend to be very expensive, hard to find, slow lead times. If you order one, it has to be handmade by somebody. If I can make that myself here in the shop, I think that'd be a great way to experiment with some other radio frequencies. Now, I am very new at this process, so I am going to be following Thought Emporium's design quite a bit. I've got a few changes to make in the process and some of the software I use, but if you'd like to see his video, I'll link it up here, and then I'll also have a link down in the description if you want to see how he did it. I will also be trying to make a sign using a hunk of scrap wood here. This is also a relatively new thing to me. This is kind of the basic thing that you can do with a CNC machine. You can make cool carved out signs, but I have not actually done that before. I had a open frame CNC machine that somebody sent me last year, and I never used it because it was an open frame. It was just kind of an XY axis like some of the early 3D printers, and it spewed sawdust everywhere. It was a mess. It was even more of a mess for plastic. This one has an enclosure, so I think I'm much more likely to use it. In fact, here I am using it where the open frame one just sat around all year. And if you've seen my videos before, you know I'm operating a ham Radio Shack out of a dirty garage. So my satellite tracking laptop is here between the drill press and all the chemicals. I've got satellite interfaces, I've got serial port stuff, I've got SDRs. I've got all my radio junk basically in the sawdust zone, which is not ideal for electronics. And a third thing that I'm going to be doing with the CNC machine is making metal chunks. I'm going to take a piece of aluminum here because this will cut aluminum, and I'm going to try to make a kind of a custom angle indicator using this and then maybe a piece of wood or some other piece of backing. I'll show you what that looks like in a few minutes here as we get deeper into the video. So when it came time to design the microstrip hairpin filter, I looked online and I found a couple examples and designer programs to make these using a given megahertz or gigahertz frequency range. But not all of those would output something I could directly use in CNC. So I opened up some of the images in Photoshop, or in my case I used GIMP. I exported those files as a PNG, and then I opened those up in a vector editing program called Inkscape. I then output that as an SVG path. I took the Carvera CNC program at this point and dropped those SVG files in there, used those to generate the tool paths. And this is all fairly new to me, so I am not the best person to describe step by step how to do this. I will kind of leave that up to the viewer. If you want to do this yourself, You'll have to kind of figure it out because I am not 100% sure if I'm doing it correctly here. One final thing I wanted to mention before I get started is that this also has a rotary tool, so it's basically a little miniature lathe within the CNC machine, so you can carve out three-dimensional stuff. And I thought about trying to make a helical antenna with this, trying to carve out something similar to this. This is a 3D printed design, but I'm not actually sure how to do that with this, so that might have to be a future video. Now, I ran into this problem quite a bit when I was using the examples, is that it doesn't always want to open the G-code files. So sometimes I have to close out of the program and reopen stuff. I tried this a couple times. It gave me a division by 0 error, and then the second time I loaded it, it seemed to work. So I really like the hardware on this Carvera, but the software it's flaky, it's unstable, and it's mysterious, and I basically don't know how to use any of the software for it. All right, and we've got another division by 0. So I'm back in the house trying to make Cam software again. I found a video from Aurora Tech that kind of explains a little bit better how to do this process, all the way from making the model to getting it into the Makera software to getting it into the Carvera controller software. Now, CNC is one of those skills that I'm trying to learn more about. It's just kind of slow, it's confusing, it's complicated. I don't always have time to go through it in depth, so I'm really pushing myself here to learn more about it, learn how to do some of these processes with this new machine, and hopefully we'll have some new skills at the end of it and some cool stuff to put on the dish. All right, that time it worked. Third time's the charm, I guess. Yes, the CNC enclosure is filthy because I did some lasering in here, and the smoke from the laser just coated the inside of the enclosure, so yeah, it looks a little funky, but it still works just fine. One thing I like about this is the little auto level probe. All right, let's see if this works. Another downside of the Carvera control software is that the ETA is pretty much completely random. This says it will take multiple hours to finish. I don't think it's actually going to be that long, so I'm just going to leave this alone and come back and check on it periodically. So there is our circuit board microstrip filter. Looks pretty decent, although the CNC went rogue and cut the bottom corner off for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but I don't think it'll affect the function. So next up, let's work on our doorway sign. The machine actually just stopped here. It said it ran into a soft limit, so we're going to reset that. It wants to set the origin kind of in from the corner here. I'm trying to get it to start right at the corner, but it doesn't want to do that. All right, well, now it's giving me a download file error. I went back in and edited the sign file so that it's smaller than the work area, but it still refuses to put it on the work area. So moving back to the filter, I ordered some SMA connectors here to go on the ends, but they have not arrived yet. Amazon is really backed up with Christmas and whatnot. So instead, I'm going to try to salvage the SMA connectors out of this other wideband LNA that I killed. I accidentally gave this 12 volts instead of 5. So I'm going to take that apart, see if I can desolder these connectors and pop them on here. Ground layer is good all the way across. Good contact on the centers. All right, so I can't actually tell if this is any good because on the Nano VNA, it just bounces all over the place. It seems like there's a big dip sometimes around 1560 megahertz, but it comes and goes. So here's what things should look like. Here is a similar microstrip filter that I picked up for 2.4 gigahertz. And on the Nano VNA, you can see there's a nice big dip around 2.4 gigahertz. Mine is supposed to be at 1296 megahertz and is definitely not. So my attempt at making a filter here was kind of interesting for a first try, but nowhere near usable. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out something else with this. I don't know if it's my circuit design that's wrong. I don't know if it's my technique that's wrong. I don't know if it's using foil tape on the back instead of a double-sided PCB. There are a lot of variables here. I'm not quite sure what to try next time, so I might have to order some better materials like double-sided PCB, and I might have to go through and try making some different designs just to see which ones work and which don't. I had spent some time last night redoing the wood sign file in an attempt to get this wooden sign made. Came out to the garage, turned it on, and now it says the spindle is overheated. It hasn't even been running and it's already overheated. And it's not hot in here. It's like winter outside, and the garage is somewhere between 30 and 40 degrees, so it's definitely not overheated. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not overheated. If anything, that's maybe too cold. And a lot of manuals will tell you specifications about operating temperatures and operating environmental range. The Carvera manual doesn't seem to have any of that, so I have no idea what the acceptable temperature range is here. Maybe that's too cold for it, and the software is just so poorly written that it can't tell the difference between hot and cold. At this point, I wouldn't put it past it, because nothing else in the software seems to be written very well. I did contact Makera to complain about their software, and the response was basically, well, it's free, so don't complain. I guess they're kind of telling me they know it's terrible software, and people are supposed to just buy something better. When I did the last video on this thing, the review of it, I kind of liked it, but I was just doing the example projects, and so far I can't get too much else out of it other than the example projects. I got another update from Makera saying that they are working on a new version of the software and the manual, so hopefully that will address some of the issues I noticed, and they'll have a more mature and better Makera Software Studio later in 2026. All right, I did get this to start carving, and then I had to hit the E-stop because I realized it's going too deep, and then everything is a little bit off too far to the left. So I'm gonna have to go back and mess with my CNC file because it's not fitting on the board. I thought I measured it correctly, I thought I had it fitting, but for some reason it is just not working correctly. All right, well, it's looking okay so far, except it skipped an S in there, and I don't know if it's gonna come back and do that later. All right, yeah, there it goes with the S. I guess it just decided to save that for later as a treat. So for the next operation, I want to use the laser, and I wanted to use an air pump. I've got that air inlet on the back there. Now I was digging through my compressed air junk here, and I've got a hose that I think will fit. And I also just picked up this medical grade air compressor for another project. All right, my laser carved angle indicator is done, sort of. Something happened here. It's got like a discontinuity. So right about here, it's like something got bumped and everything moved over. I'm actually gonna flip this over. I'm maybe going to move my mounting brackets to hopefully have less stuff in the way, just in case the laser ran into one of these brackets on the side. All right, round 2 looks good to go. All right, so there's my angle indicator. So I just need to attach this to the side of my pan tilt mount, and it should tell me where it's tilting to. It should tell me what angle the elevation is at. All right, we're back out here at Sandland at the radar dome, so it is time to actually install and use some of those CNC products we made. There we go, nice new door sign for the observatory. And we'll put our angle indicator right here. All right, that angle indicator is going to be super useful for upcoming dish operations when I need to quickly look at the dish and just confirm where is it pointing versus where the computer thinks it's pointing. So that's a fantastic addition. And then the door sign just adds a touch of class to our radio observatory, our space dome operations here. So that thing's really cool too. So once again, I'd like to thank Makera for sending me that Carvera Air CNC machine. I already did a video, a review video on it showing off kind of the basic features, but in this one I wanted to actually show what can I do with that on a personal level, what can I do to support some of my other projects like our radio observatory, like our geodesic dome. And I've got a few other things in mind, so we may be seeing that again in the future. That is a tool that I am going to keep, I am going to continue using. If you want to find out more about it, I will put some links down below in the description where you can check out the Carvera Air or any of the other products that Makera offers. Also, stay tuned for more dome stuff because we have way more things we're doing with this in 2026, and I'm pretty excited about it. Thank you to everyone out there for watching, and we'll see you next time.